Do you know who is the world's highest paid celebrity? So stick to the video to know and hit the subscribe button to never miss an update from our channel. The world's highest paid celebrities earned a combined $6.1 billion before taxes and fees, a $200 million drop from 2019, after the global pandemic shuttered stadiums and silenced performances around the world. To determine which celebrities were paid the most, Forbes looked at what each earned, pre-tax, between June 2019 and May 2020, before deducting fees for agents, lawyers, and managers. The top-earning celebrities were Kylie Jenner and Kanye West, who brought in $590 million and $170 million, respectively. West collected most of his earnings from his Yeezy sneakers deal with Adidas, while Jenner's payday came from selling a 51% stake in her cosmetics. But also one should fulfill the Kylie Jenner. The reality TV star sold 51% of Kylie Cosmetics to publicly traded Coty, Incorporated in January 2019 for $600 million. She pocketed $540 million, pre-tax. Documents later showed the business was much smaller than the family claimed for years, leading her to lose her billionaire title. Kylie Cosmetics, which had 2019 revenue of $200 million, was built on the back of a social media following that reaches more than 175 million people. Jenner used $250,000 of her earnings from modeling to pay an outside company for her first 15,000 lip kits, which sold out in minutes in 2015. One of the family stars on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Jenner remains in charge of creative efforts and marketing for Kylie Cosmetics. Publications figures are sourced from Nielsen Music, MRC Data, Polestar, IMDb. Jenner brother-in-law, Kanye West also hits this list with total earning of $170 million. New information about Kanye West's deal with Adidas for sneaker brand Yeezy convinced Forbes to call the entrepreneur and musician a billionaire. He gets an annual royalty from Adidas, which makes Yeezy shoes. It pulled an estimated $1.3 billion in sales in 2019. West's Sunday service, an invitation-only confab mostly in Southern California, has reportedly drawn the likes of Katy Perry and Dave Chappelle. In June 2020, retailer Gap and Kanye West announced they will start selling a line of West's Yeezy clothing designed for Gap. Yeezy is a complicated asset. West owns 100% of it. But it's functionally tied. While Kanye West first became famous as a rapper, the bulk of his fortune is actually from his clothing brand. Famous tennis player Roger Federer is the world's highest paid athlete for the first time. The biggest prize in his stable is Japanese apparel brand Uniqlo, which locked him up in 2018 under a 10-year, $300 million deal. Federer has won $130 million in prize money in his career, but the total is dwarfed by his off-court earnings from appearances and endorsements. The greatest men's tennis player of all time briefly returned to the #1 ranking in 2018, becoming the oldest man by more than 3 years to do it. His eponymous foundation has raised more than $50 million and educated 1.5 million children in Africa since its launch. According to Forbes, Federer topped the list of the publication's highest-paid athletes in the world in 2020 with a staggering $106.3 million accrued year-over-year. He clocks in at a lofty $450 million. Ronaldo, the most followed athlete on social media. His Instagram followers hit 200 million in 2020. The Portuguese star joined Juventus in 2018 after 9 years with Real Madrid. He took a pay cut with his 4-year deal worth $64 million annually. Within 24 hours of release, Juventus sold 520,000 Ronaldo jerseys worth over $60 million. Between June 2017 and June 2018, Cristiano earned $108 million, $61 million through salary and $47 million from endorsements. He was the club's top scorer, with 28 goals during the 2018-19 season, on the way to the club winning both the Serie A title and the Italian Super Cup. He has won FIFA's Player of the Year 5 times and is the all-time leading goal scorer and the UEFA Champions. Most famous another soccer player, Basically known as the GOAT Lionel Messi, he has been awarded both FIFA's Player of the Year and the European Golden Shoe for top scorer on the continent a record 6 times. His current Barcelona contract is through 2020-21 and pays him over $80 million annually. His 438 goals, including 36 hat-tricks for Barcelona, is a club and La Liga record. The Argentinian superstar launched his own clothing line and opened his first retail outlet, the Messi Store, in September 2019 in Barcelona. The World Health Organization tapped Messi in March 2020 to help lead a worldwide campaign aimed at stopping the spread of the COVID-19. As mentioned before, he is reportedly worth $400 million. Messi averages an equivalent of about $35 million a year in this contract, or $646,000 a week. Tyler Perry, a director, actor, producer and writer, who is best known for his Madea franchise, which has grossed more than $660 million. Perry started out in live theater in the 1990s and became extremely popular before transitioning to film and television in the 2000s. Perry's wealth comes both from his cut as a producer and from a library dating back to the early 1990s. He owns 100% of the content he's created. According to Forbes, Perry is currently worth an estimated $1 billion. He hits the lists of the wealthiest American citizens in 2019. He opened Tyler Perry Studios, a 330-acre property in Atlanta with 12 sound stages and custom sets that include a to-scale White House. After 7 years creating content for Oprah Winfrey's OWN, Perry struck a similar deal with Viacom in 2019, getting 25% of streaming service Bet+. A Brazilian professional footballer who plays as a forward. He is on a 5-year contract with Paris Saint-Germain that made him the highest-paid soccer player in the world and perhaps the highest-paid athlete on the planet in terms of base salary. Through June 2022 worth $350 million in salary. His first contract paid him $1.7 million per year. He is also one of the most handsomely compensated players in the game today. His transfer from Barcelona to PSG stands as the most expensive in the world at $263 million, which the French club paid in full ahead of his signing. The Brazilian is the second most popular athlete on social media with a combined 244 million followers on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Nike's Jordan brand signed him as its first soccer ambassador in 2016. In March 2020 its film unit released a movie about his life. Howard Stern, the veteran shock jock, is the world's highest-paid radio host thanks to an 8-figure annual contract with SiriusXM. Stern's Sirius contract expires in December 2020 and retains rights to his archives, which could mean a huge cash-out is coming. With 45 years of on-air experience, Stern is known for his honest celebrity interviews. Became the most fined radio host when the Federal Communications Commission issued fines totaling $2.5 million to station owners for content it deemed indecent. Stern became one of the highest-paid radio figures after signing a 5-year deal with Sirius in 2004 worth $500 million. After featuring Trump for years on his morning talk show, the outspoken host has taken to publicly mocking with the president and his 2 sons. In recent years, Stern's photography has been featured in Hamptons and World magazines. LeBron James, professional basketball player. 4-time NBA MVP LeBron James joined the Los Angeles Lakers in 2018 under a 4-year, $153 million contract. He has the NBA's top endorsement portfolio, as well as his own production company, Spring Hill Entertainment, and media company, Uninterrupted. James teamed up with Cindy Crawford, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Lindsey Vonn in 2018 to launch Ladder. The LeBron James Family Foundation opened its first elementary school in 2018 and plans to spend $41 million to send kids to college. James and his partners own 19 Blaze Pizza franchises in Chicago and South Florida. According to a study by Forbes in 2018, King James's $32 million shoe deal with Nike is second only to Michael Jordan's massive $132 million deal. That's cool. Rush Limbaugh, an American radio personality, conservative political commentator, author and former television show host. He is best known as the host of his radio show The Rush Limbaugh Show. Despite being diagnosed with advanced lung cancer, the conservative talk radio host continues to dominate the airwaves. In January, he renewed a contract with Premier Radio Networks that pays him about $70 million annually for his broadcasts. A friend of Donald Trump, Limbaugh was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in February 2020, drawing controversy. Limbaugh has also published 7 books, including the 5-titled children's series Rush Revere, and streams video of his radio programs for a fee. Limbaugh has been one of the premier voices of the conservative movement in the United States since the 1990s. He has been inducted into the National Radio Hall of Fame and the National Association of Broadcasters. Ellen DeGeneres, after starting out as a stand-up comedian, Ellen DeGeneres rose to fame when her sitcom Ellen premiered on television in 1994. 9 years later, her eponymous daytime talk show first aired, making DeGeneres a household name. In addition to the 8-figure check she gets from hosting her show, she has earned millions more producing shows like Little Big Shots. She also receives licensing fees from her lines at PetSmart and Bed, Bath & Beyond. Since coming out as gay in 1997, she's been an activist in the LGBTQ community, supporting to the Trevor Project, Human Rights Campaign and GLAAD. Forbes estimated DeGeneres' 2018 earnings at $87.5 million, making her the 15th highest-paid entertainer in the world. In 2015, she was named the 50th most powerful woman in the world by Forbes and came second on the World Pride Power list. Bill Simmons, American sports analyst, author, podcaster, and former sports writer who is the founder and CEO of the sports and pop culture website The Ringer. Simmons launched sports media company The Ringer in 2016 after a nasty falling out with ESPN. The Ringer now includes a podcast network of more than 36 shows, a sports news website and a film production unit. Simmons sold The Ringer to Spotify in March 2020 for an initial payout of $155 million. He is the first podcaster to appear on the Celebrity 100. Simmons is known for his style of writing, characterized by mixing sports knowledge and analysis, pop culture references, his non-sports related personal life, and for being written from the viewpoint of a passionate sports fan. Simmons has also created numerous internet memes, most notably the Ewing theory, though he claims he did not come up with the idea, and the Manning face. Elton John, an English singer, songwriter, pianist, and composer. Collaborating with lyricist Bernie Taupin since 1967 on more than 30 albums. Farewell Yellow Brick Road tour grossed $212 million in 2019, the second highest tally in the business. He formed his own record label The Rocket Record Company in 1973, which released albums by Neil Sedaka. Interestingly, he opted to not release his own music on his own label and instead signed an $8 million deal with MCA. That's the same as around $40 million after adjusting for inflation. With the pandemic postponing his North American tour dates in April, the Rocket Man will have to wait to complete his 300-show, 5-continent tour. In April, the Rocket Man's Elton John AIDS Foundation announced a $1 million emergency fund to help those with HIV maintain their care amid COVID-19. James Patterson, America's highest-paid author, sold almost 5 million books in the U.S. between June 2019 and June 2020. Patterson made $10 million more in 2020 thanks to a multi-book advance paid in late in 2019. Patterson is teaming up with Bill Clinton again to co-write their second thriller, The President's Daughter, to be published in June 2021. His books have sold more than 300 million copies and he was the first person to sell 1 million e-books. In 2016, Patterson topped Forbes' list of highest-paid authors for the third consecutive year, with an income of $95 million. His total income over a decade is estimated at $700 million. Patterson has written 95 novels since 1976 and has had 19 consecutive #1 New York Times best-selling novels.